Thank you for all being here today. I want to specifically thank the members of the Santa Clara PAC who have spent days putting this process together. The PAC endorsed 2 years ago. All the candidates, fortunately, were elected, and we're very proud of that. The purpose of our PAC is to support candidates that we feel best represent the values of many businesses in the Santa Clara area. These values include seeking individuals with different backgrounds and ethnicity. Last year, we approached the Hispanic, Black, and Vietnamese chambers looking for possible candidates. We did not get interest we had hoped, and we were not able to find candidates that were interested in serving through an elected position. From this experience, we decided we wanted to add an educational portion to our endorsements. We felt by streaming these interviews, as we're doing today, we'd be able to educate and interest future candidates for council positions. The difficult times that the city is facing, it has become even more important to have individuals with business backgrounds to help make the right short-term and long-term decisions. For the candidates that we will interview today, it's not intended to make this process difficult. Rather, we're hoping to make you aware of the problems and issues that face the city, specifically the business area. Not all candidates decided to be interviewed through this process. To those that did not, we wish them well. If you do receive our endorsement, it is because we best feel that you represent the many businesses in Santa Clara. For you that do not receive our endorsement, we want you to know that we appreciate your efforts and applaud the fact you're involved. If you're elected, endorsed or not, we look forward to working with you. It's important to note that the long history of the city and business in Santa Clara is one of mutual respect and ability to find common goals that benefit all the citizens of Santa Clara. We're relatively new to endorsing candidates, and we want the process to be very transparent. We want to provide the voters with as much information about the process and decision we have made. I wish to congratulate all of you on your choice to involve yourself with the City of Santa Clara, a decision you'll never regret. So let's get started. We have Lisa Gillmor running for seat 6, unopposed. Nice position to be in, Lisa.
Yes, thank you.
We'll let you get started.
Thank you. My name's Lisa Gillmor, and I'm a lifelong Santa Claran. Besides the time I was away at school in the University of Southern California and graduated, I've lived my entire life in this city. My families were 4th generation Santa Clarans. I'm a mother. I have 3 children, 16, 12, and 9, which keeps me very busy. I'm also in real estate, a small business owner, Gillmor and Associates. I've been in the Franklin Mall since 1964. Not me, but the business. I've been a city council member now for the past 2 years. A little background, I was appointed in 2010 to fill the position of Jamie Matthews, who was elected as mayor of the city of Santa Clara. And the council decided to appoint for a position. So there were several candidates, and they chose me for the seat. And I think one of the main reasons is that I had been a council member from 1992 to 2000, and I'd served 2 terms. I had been off for 10 years, and there were a lot of issues facing Santa Clara in 2010, as we have today in 2012, and they felt that I might be the best candidate at the time to help with the issues. There was no training necessary since I had been a previous council member for 2 terms, and I was able to hit the ground running. I had been a big proponent of the San Francisco 49ers Stadium here in Santa Clara, and that was one of the major goals of the City Council, was to complete the stadium project. So with my real estate background, the background I had from serving 2 terms as a council member, they felt was a good fit. So I have filled that position for the last 2 years, and I decided to continue on, and in a couple minutes I'll tell you exactly why I decided to continue on. But Santa Clara has been my home. I started as a Parks and Recreation Commissioner in 1982. I served the Parks Commission for 10 years. I love this city. I have worked in the city, volunteered in the city for many decades now, and I call it my home. The success of Santa Clara is very important to me because I'm raising my family here, and I feel like we have a legacy here, that we have so many opportunities in this great city. I want to see us flourish. I have 3 goals that I want to achieve during my next 4 years in office. one of the goals is to make sure that we have the very best police and fire services to keep our streets and families safe. I think what's so important about our city is that our streets are safe. Our police department is very important to us. Our fire department is very important to us. And as our population ages, we need those services. Unlike cities surrounding us, I think that safety and our citizens' sense of comfort in our neighborhoods is very, very important to me. Also, a second goal I have, and not necessarily in that order, but the second goal is to enhance the tax base of the city by encouraging new business and fostering a business-friendly climate. I'm a small business owner. I've been in business for 30 years in real estate. It's hard to say, 30 years. I believe that government needs to run more like a business. I have to say more like a business because there is government that is necessary for certain functions. But if it's run more like a business, then we can become more profitable. When I left the city council in 2000, our reserves were full, our land values were high. We were doing very, very well. And then the Great Recession hit. And now our reserves are not full anymore. We're now slowly trying to fill them, but we have to look for better and more creative ways and make economic development a focus for us for my next 4 years. It needs to be a number one focus if we're to survive the effects of this Great Recession. Another third of my goal is offering the best city services possible. We are very fortunate in Santa Clara that we have Silicon Valley Power that allows us to have the lowest electric utility rates in the 9 Bay Area counties. I think that's the term that we all use all the time. Our streets need to be maintained. Our parks need to be maintained. We need to supply library services to our residents. All the basic city services we need to maintain. And it doesn't sound like a real sexy issue. However, it's a basic and fundamental issue for us here in Santa Clara. Just for a city to be maintaining services is difficult in today's economy. I want to make sure that we maintain those city services and even enhance them when our funds become more fluid in the city, more than they are right now. So those are the issues I'd like to work on. I'm very passionate about economic development. It is one of my stronger areas that I'd like to focus on because I think we need to, we've spent a lot of time cutting in the city, which has been absolutely necessary, but I don't think we spend enough time creating. I'd like to create revenue, create long-term revenue, cash flows into our general fund, and start creating, a bigger sense of place and financial independence for our city. So I'm available for questions, and I'm sure you're ready to throw them at me.
Thank you, Lisa. We're going to
Thank
start
you.
with Myron Von Racefield.
Good afternoon, Lisa. Thanks for coming. It's good to see you here. My first question kind of goes in line with what your last part of your last statement was, and that's raising revenues. And I'm kind of interested in a little bit of what your vision is for the area north of Bayshore, around the Niner Stadium. There is a lot of land out there that has a lot of potential. I'd be curious to kind of hear a little bit about what your thoughts are and what you think and how we can maybe use some of that to maybe hit some of the topics you just talked about.
All right, thank you. It's one of my favorite subjects. I think that we're very fortunate that we have the stadium now, and it's being built, and hopefully I've heard it's ahead of schedule. But once we finished inking the agreements for the stadium, I'm already thinking about what's next because Candlestick Park's a perfect example of building a stadium there at Candlestick. People drive there and they get in their car after the games and they drive home. I do not want to see that in Santa Clara. I want to be able to have activities, retail, hotels, residential, other types of entertainment in the area to keep people here in Santa Clara and to spend money in Santa Clara and therefore enhance our tax base in Santa Clara. So I would like to see a master plan developed around the stadium. I think it's absolutely necessary that we do that so that we don't lose any of the opportunities for the future development out there, that as soon as possible, we need to master plan the area around the stadium to start attracting businesses and come up with our plan. We have issues associated with that. We have a lot of parking issues and other issues that that are created because of success. And so I think that we need to address that now. And so I do see our entertainment area enhanced, on the fast track for development. Our stadium opens in 2 years. We need to be working very, very quickly. We have some projects in the pipeline you may have heard about, the Montana hotel, restaurant, some other amenities. That's just, I think, the tip of the iceberg of other things that we're looking at. So I think that needs to be a priority. The city of Santa Clara owns quite a bit of land out there, so we need to really manage our underutilized properties and make them income producing. We have a really big challenge. You've heard about the redevelopment agency and what's happened there and the death of it and the effects that it's having on our city right now. And we're a little unsure right now as to other properties that we own out there that had been owned at a previous time by the redevelopment agency, whether or not we're going to be able to keep those properties and the income that's produced from those properties, or if the state's going to come in and steal them, as I say, from us. There's no other term but that, because our citizens have worked really hard and our city's been managed well, worked really hard to create what we did out there, and because we're creative and we're successful, other agencies are ready to try to take what we have, and I think it's wrong. So
I agree.
thank you.
Lisa, thanks for coming today. And along with this economic vision that you have for our city, do you see ways in which the Chamber of Commerce can participate in helping you and helping the city of Santa Clara obtain those objectives?
Yes, there's many, many ways. I think that I would like to see the chamber get very involved in what's happening around our stadium and in our entertainment district. I think that it's critical that the chamber be involved. And I know the chamber has been very involved in working with the small businesses, large businesses, other things. You have a lot on your plate right now. But I think that the priority now should focus on our future. And I would like to see a lot more involvement from the chamber in what we're doing. I pushed to have a economic development director hired by our city. I pushed and pushed until our city manager finally was tired of listening to me. We hired somebody now. We have an economic development committee that I think can be really enhanced, and I'd like to see a lot more chamber involvement in that now. We're at a critical crossroads now for that area. We're hoping to attract Super Bowls. We're hoping to attract money from all the surrounding communities and make us our area a destination area. We need the chamber involvement, and all the political muscle and everything that comes with the chamber needs to be involved with the council. We're going to have 3 new council members out of 7. And I'm sure they're all going to be looking for, as I am, a lot of guidance and help through these next times, because we're taking on things in the city. They're more business transactions now that are going to be, harder to understand. They're going to be difficult. They're going to be a little scary for especially some new politicians. So I think that knowing that the chamber is going to wrap their arms around moving together this successful project that's going to fill our general fund is going to be important. To know that you're back there saying, yes, it's going to be okay. We're all out for the benefit of the city, and it may look big and large and scary, but we have to do it, so we don't end up like some of the other surrounding cities, and I won't name any. So, thanks.
Are you done now?
Yes.
Hi, Lisa. Thank
Hi,
you
Dave.
for sharing those comments. You had one of your answers on the questionnaire you had to adjust pensions equal to individuals in the private sector for future employment. What do you mean by that?
Well, that actually might be taken out of our hands right now. First of all, we're in negotiations right now, and I know our council as a whole has said pension reform is something that's on the top of our list. That's what we want to do. We're looking at creative ways to to work with that, because it's a difficult subject. I know a lot of us, including me, would like to see, pensions more in line with what happens in the private sector, because I'm from the private sector. I'm not from the public sector. So I know about, retirement accounts and other types of things. And, we just want to be fair. Let's be fair. And so, adjusting them, we may not even be able to weigh in on it because of the state of California and what they're doing. We were just briefed very quickly briefed on the new pension reform that's supposed to take place if the governor signs January of 2013, which they're going to tell us our pension reform. They're going to tell us what we're going to do for pension reform. So, I just got a glimpse of it, and I don't understand all of it, but I know that there's good parts of it and there's not good parts of it. So,
as a follow-on to that, we have seen through the chamber where the state is looking at the pension funds earning 7 to 7.5% per year in order to meet their projections. One of the concerns we have, right, and exactly.
Where can I get 7%?
Right, exactly. But they need those in order to say it really balances. And we're concerned this is a short-term fix, but we're still going to be back in the same problem because they don't release the numbers except once a year based on this future earnings that they're supposed to get.
Well, being the accountant that you are, you would understand that. But you're going to have to, they're going to have to dumb it down for me because I don't understand, the background. They just said, I feel like this is just a quick, they're throwing this out to say, look, we're for pension reform, and they're throwing it out, and what does it mean? I don't know.
So I guess what I'm asking is, if we go through this process, they say it's fixed, would you still be open to chamber input so that we can give you our thoughts on whether it really is a fix?
Absolutely. Oh, no doubt, yes. In fact, I would look for that. In fact, again, even with the North of the Bayshore, I expect the chamber to come in, like most chambers do, and give us your recommendations for things. I just quite haven't seen you guys very much, so I'd like to see you a lot more. I know that on another subject, we're getting a new city manager. We're recruiting for a new city manager, and I think it's really important for our new city manager that comes in that we say, this is our business arm of our community, and we want to hear from them, on a regular basis and weigh in on things that you quite haven't weighed in on the past.
Thank you.
See, I'm interviewing you now. So.
Good switch. Brandon Harrington, you have a question for Lisa.
Yes. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
So, as a business owner and an experienced council person, what do you think are the issues that are most troubling to local business leaders? And as a council person, how do you fix them?
Well, I don't know if it's because of my location of where I am in the Franklin Mall, or because people know that I work and now own, which I've purchased for my father, a small business. I get a lot of calls and complaints. So I don't know what it is, why it happens, but I do. And the complaints that I've gotten from the last time I was on the council, they haven't changed to this time that I've been on the council, is the red tape that they have to go through to get anything done in the city. Now, granted, I think the city of Santa Clara processes things a lot more efficiently than cities around us, but we're not perfect. And I think that through the different departments in our city, I'm complaining constantly. The poor city manager has had to hear my calls. Why can't seemingly things that are no-brainers for me, that are just simple little, modifications to a business or something like that, that seem to, for no reason take, it should take 2 weeks and it takes 6 months to get something through. So I think that it's really processing applications in an efficient and a manner that makes sense. And I think that is probably the biggest issue. I've heard from small businesses, and I've heard from large developers too, and when they try to process things and they say, Lisa, this doesn't make sense. This EIR thing should take 3 months, and here we are a year later. You know, and we've come to the same conclusion we did at the first 3 months. You know, it doesn't make sense. So I always tell people that complain to me to, you know, let me know how we can make it better, because it's really the red tape and get stuck in City Hall. Now, we have frozen, I think, 100 positions in the city, and many of them, you know, have been in planning and building too. So that's part of it as well. But again, these complaints I heard from 92 to 2000 when I was a council member, and we didn't have those frozen positions. So I don't know if it's just a matter of, you know, that's how government moves, and sometimes that's the answer. Well, that's how government moves, but it shouldn't, you know, in many cases.
Lou Mariani, you have a question for Lisa?
Yes, I do. But first, I'd like to thank you for coming here. And I don't have a question about the convention center parking issues, but I want to thank you for your intelligent concern in dealing with those issues. The question I do have is related to the pension. And I understand that the state government's tying your hands a lot on really effectively dealing with this issue. Unfortunately, the more money goes to pension and benefits, the less money we have for other city services. And I know the residents are very concerned, among other services, most importantly probably public safety. And how do we keep reasonable service standards and public safety for the city if the state continues to tie your hands on the pensions?
That's a good question. There's a huge concern because of our neighbors, San Jose, and what's happened over there. I've heard, especially in the last few months, from residents because they're worried about public safety, because San Jose is, you know, the police department, they're leaving in droves, and there's, you know, 11 murders in 10 days, and, you know, their pensions are all out of whack. Well, ours are too. We have a huge unfunded pension liability in Santa Clara. But, you know, one of my major goals is to keep our streets safe with police and fire. So, again, you know, we are working on a two-tier system. I'm sure other candidates have talked about it. We have our two-tier system. We're in negotiations right now with the unions. You know, we have to impose it. Well, I don't want to use the word impose. I shouldn't use that word. But we have to deal with it fairly among all of the bargaining units, because we're going to, you know, make sure that happens amongst all of them, so it's fair for all new hires. And we're, you know, raising the age and, you know, other things that we're going to do to make our small part. It's going to make a dent. It's certainly not going to change everything. The state, depending on what they do and what they impose on us, will be, you know, important for us. But for me, I personally will not support anything cutting our public safety in Santa Clara. I believe that that's our #1 issue with our residents is public safety. And again, I'm a creator and not a, you know, I want to try to create more money so we don't have to worry about that. Yes.
We come to the part now where you get to spend the last few minutes adding any other thoughts or concerns you'd like us to know.
I thought I had an hour. No? People listening to me talk. This is wonderful. No, I think this is going to be a really important, critical time for us in Santa Clara with our new council members coming on and some old timers like me that are still there. We're on the cusp of hiring a new city manager, and to see where that's going to take us. I'm hoping that we're going to hire someone that has a conservative financial background that was very similar to our previous city manager, but also has the vision to look at where we are going in the future. I think that we here in Santa Clara, because we've approved the stadium, and now have designated our entertainment area, that there's so many opportunities for us to go out, not only to create revenues for the city of Santa Clara, give our residents something to do, you know, make sure we have police and fire on the streets, and keep our city successful and well managed as we have been in the past. So it's a critical time for us, and I'm hoping that the Chamber is a big partner with us in making all these decisions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for your presentation. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This will conclude our interview.